Not the kind that calms you, the kind that stretches between two souls until it starts to ache. For years they had spoken through routine morning coffees, half smiles, words that sounded like care but carried no warmth. She had grown used to being unseen in plain sight. And he had grown comfortable believing she would always stay. Love, when taken for granted, becomes invisible. It hides beneath chores, texts, and quiet sighs that no one notices. But it doesn't die, it just waits, and waiting has its limits. That morning, she didn't cry. She simply folded her favorite sweater, placed it in her bag, and looked around the room that had once held every version of her. The girl who used to laugh at his late-night stories, the woman who waited for him to meet her halfway, and the stranger she had become tired, unspoken, small. He barely looked up when she said his name. He thought it was another ordinary day, until she said, "I can't do this anymore." The words hung in the air like smoke, fragile, fading, final. He blinked, half expecting her to take them back. But she didn't. She didn't shout, didn't plead, didn't explain. Because she had already explained 1,000 times in tears, in silence, in every moment she'd chosen to stay despite knowing she was alone. He stood there, trying to find the right thing to say. But apologies feel small when love has already starved. And by the time he reached for her hand, it was too late. She had already let go long before her fingers did. She walked out, quietly. No slamming doors, no final glance. Just a woman choosing peace over pain. And that was the loudest goodbye of all. Days passed, then weeks. And the house, once filled with her gentle presence, began to feel heavier without her. Her mug still sat by the sink. Her scent lingered on the pillow. He found strands of her hair on the couch, fragile reminders of a love he had buried under neglect. It's strange how absence speaks louder than presence. He began to notice things he had ignored, the way she used to wait for him at dinner, how her laughter would light up the smallest of evenings, how her silence had been her final cry for help. Regret doesn't knock. It just walks in, uninvited, and rearranges everything you thought you understood about love. He replayed their moments like scenes from a film he wished he could rewrite. Every argument, every time he dismissed her softness as too much, every chance he had to hold her closer, but chose pride instead. Pride, the quiet killer of love. It makes you win the battle but lose the person. One night, he found an old letter she had written but never gave him. Her handwriting was soft, trembling, like the words themselves had been tired. It said, "I kept waiting for you to see me, not for who you wanted me to be, but for who I really am. I kept hoping you'd remember the girl who believed in you before you did. But maybe love shouldn't have to beg to be noticed." He sat there for hours, reading the same lines over and over. Every word felt like a mirror held up to his own blindness. He realized then she hadn't left because she stopped loving him. She left because she finally started loving herself. And that truth broke him in a way nothing else could. He tried reaching out. Messages unsent. Calls unanswered. She had built a life where his absence no longer echoed. She was learning to smile again, not because someone loved her, but because she finally did. There's a kind of healing that doesn't announce itself. It happens in quiet rooms, on long walks, in the way someone breathes differently once they stop carrying someone else's weight. He saw her once, months later, across a crowded street. Same eyes, but softer. Same smile, but lighter. She looked free not because she had moved on, but because she had forgiven him without needing an apology. And forgiveness, he realized, isn't about letting someone back in. It's about closing the door gently and wishing them peace from the other side. He wanted to run to her, say everything he should have said years ago, but some words only make sense in silence. So he stood there, watching her fade into the crowd, a living reminder that love cannot survive where it's unseen. He went home to an empty house, and for the first time, he truly felt it, not the loneliness of missing someone, but the grief of realizing he never truly knew them while he had the chance. Love is not lost in a moment. It fades through every later, every "I'm busy," every "you're overreacting." And by the time we learn to listen, silence is all that's left to hear. He kept the letter in his drawer, not as a memory of her, but as a reminder that attention is the purest form of love. That presence means more than promises. that the greatest mistake is believing someone will keep waiting once they've already learned how to walk away. Years later, he met someone new, kind, gentle, open, but love never feels the same once you've learned what it costs to lose it. So, he learned to see, this time, to listen when silence spoke, to hold when words failed, to value the quiet moments that build a life. He never forgot her, not as a wound, but as a teacher. Because some people don't come into your life to stay, they come to awaken you, to show you the mirror of your own neglect, and the kind of love you must learn to give before you deserve to receive it. And somewhere, in another corner of the world, she smiled not out of nostalgia, but peace. Because sometimes, walking away isn't leaving someone behind, it's returning to yourself. And in that return, there is freedom, there is healing, there is truth. He finally saw her worth, but only when she no longer needed him to. And that was the day he truly lost her. Because some lessons don't come in the moment of love, they come in the silence that follows it. And in that silence, he finally understood. The one who walks away isn't the one who gave up, it's the one who finally remembered their worth.